Okay, the first spot that you have to put oil every day that you're going to use your embroidery machine, the first thing that you need to do is to put a little drop of oil on the bar of the reciprocator. Now, to have access to the bar of the reciprocator, we have to move the sewing head to needle number 1. So we're going to press the 3 needle icon and then number 1. So the sewing head is moving to needle number 1, and it will give us access to the bar of the reciprocator. So as you can see right there, the white piece is the reciprocator, and it's attached to a bar. I recommend to put 1 drop of oil right there every time you start using your embroidery machine. Okay? Now, there is another bar that you can see right here. That also I will recommend to put 1 drop there. And that's it. Okay? Another spot that is very important to be oiled, it's the rotary hook. The rotary hook must be oiled every 4 hours of use. Now, how you oil the rotary hook? You take off the bobbin case, and with your oiler, you put a drop of oil right here. Make sure not to put too much oil, because when you start stitching your fabrics, it will spread the oil through the fabric and it will stain your fabric. In order to avoid that, once you put 1 drop of oil into the rotary hook, I would recommend to press the 100-degree icon in your control panel. Do this 3 or 4 times so the oil can spread through the rotary hook. Then place back the bobbin case into the hook assembly, and you're done. Now, every week you need to put oil in a hole that it's on the back of the head, and to get access to that hole you have to move the sewing head to needle number 1. So we press the 3 needle icon and then the number 1 needle. The sewing head will move to the needle number 1 and will expose that hole we are talking about right here. That hole goes into the inside of the bar of the reciprocator. Basically, we have a sponge inside that bar, and we had holes through the bar of the reciprocator. There you have to put at least 5 drops of oil every week. Five drops of oil every week there will do, and that's it for that spot. Now every week we have to put oil into the needle bars of the sewing head. In order to get access to those needle bars, we have to remove the Redline cover. Using a Phillips screwdriver, you remove these 2 screws, and you will have access to the needle bars of the sewing head. Now, every bar has to be lubricated with only 1 tiny drop. If you put too much oil there, that oil will spread into your fabric when you're stitching. You're going to see a lot of dots around your embroidery, and you don't want that. So be very careful and put just 1 little drop of oil into the bars. and that's it. Now place back the cover. Place back the 2 screws that holds the cover. And you don't have to tighten those very hard. It's just very light tight, and that's it. Also, we need to put a drop of oil on top of the needle bars, and we have access through this area right here. So 1 little drop on each needle bar as well. Like I said, don't put too much oil on those bars, because then you will have to run the machine without stitching in order for that oil to come out. So it's just 1 little drop, 1 little drop. You don't need more, just 1 drop. And that's it. On the back of the machine, we got 1 hole right here and a sticker that says oil here every week. I highly recommend to put only 2 drops of oil. Don't fill the hole with oil, because that over oiling this spot can affect a sensor that we have inside right here. Basically, the part that we have there, it's a bushing. It's a bushing like this one, and it has a hole. So that hole, it's pointed to this hole right here. So when you put 2 drops of oil there, it goes through this oil, through this hole inside here, and it lubricates the inside of this bushing. Okay, so when you put too much oil, that oil will spread out, and it will spread the sensor that we got close to this bushing. So in order to avoid that, I will recommend to put only 2 drops of oil every week if you're using your machine every day. If you're not using your machine every day, you can put 2 drops of oil every 2 weeks. If you're using your machine like every, I don't know, 2 days per week or 3 days per week. But if you use your machine every week, I mean every day of the week, I will highly recommend to put 2 drops of oil every week right here. 1, 2, and that's it. It doesn't require more. Now in the front of the machine, same as the back, we got another oil, and we got bushing similar to the one that I have shown you. Same thing, we have to put 2 drops of oil every week if you're using your machine every day of the week. 1, 2. Another important spot that you have to put oil at least every week, and same thing, you have to only put 2 drops of oil. It's into this hole right here. So we need to put 1, 2. And we are now finished with the oiling the embroidery machine. That's basically the spots that you need to take care every week, every 4 hours, every day. I have explained that. Now I'm going to show you the 3 areas that you need to put grease. Basically, we have 2 cams on this machine. Actually, there are 3, but I'm going to show you the 2 cams that are very important. This one, it's a cam that goes on the back of the head, and this one, it also goes back to the head. So we need to make sure that these 2 cams that we use on the Redline Embroidery Machine are properly greased, because this is the life of your embroidery machine. Okay, you don't want this cams to worn out, and they can be easily worn out if you're not putting grease. Now, the period time for grease those cams are 3 months. Every 3 months we need to check these 2 cams, and we have to put grease on this two cams in order to extend the life of these cams. The first one is this one right here. This one, it's basically located at the back of the head. Let me show you how to get access to this cam. In order to get access to the cam, the first cam that it's on the back of the sewing head, you need to move the sewing head to needle 15. Once you move the sewing head to needle 15, inside this tiny little hole is that cam that I just showed you, this one right here. This one, basically it's placed like this, and that's what you see inside here. Now with a pallet screwdriver, you have to put grease on that cam. Carefully with a pallet screwdriver, grab the grease and put it inside the cam, and then press the 100-degree icon twice so it will turn and spread the grease through the cam. So that's the only access that we have to that cam, and that cam has to be greased every 3 months of use of this machine. Now the other cam, which is like this one, it goes right here. So we need to remove this cover, and also we have a little tiny space to have access to that cam. Okay, in order to access the second cam, we need to remove this cover right here. And it will expose the cam. Yes. So that's the cam. Oh. And there he is. So that's the cam we need to grease, and unfortunately it's facing to the front. The groove that we need to grease, it's facing to the front. So same thing with a pallet screwdriver, you need to apply grease to the front area of the cam. Okay, let me show you. This is the cam, and that cam is placed in this position. So this is the groove of the cam, and then here is where we need to apply the grease. And that cam has to be greased every 3 months of use. Another area where you need to put grease on this machine is the color change mechanism. If we remove this cover, we will have access to a gear that moves the sewing head. Okay, that gear also must be greased every 3 months. Okay, every 3 months we need to remove the cover. If we still have grease, we have to clean it up and put new grease into the gear. Okay. Also with your finger, you can spread the grease through these pin rolls as well. You grab grease with your finger and spread the grease through these pin rolls as well. Every 3 months we have to replace the grease on the color change mechanism. Okay?